What a time to be alive. You are just in time for Richard Mwenja exclusive, the only point of call on matters political and governance analysis in Kenya and across the region. Welcome to the conversation. I have your favorite think tank today on the show. He's none other than this proud son of Trans Nzoia County, the first of his name, Honorable Kipruto Arap Kirwa.
Yes.
You're doing well?
Very well. I thank God for it, as always, because God is kind. Every morning you wake up and you're still alive, the first thing is to know you've gotten a blessing. You've woken up alive. There are many other people who go to bed and they don't wake up. Yeah, including a girl from Cherangani constituency. The other day she went to bed. The following day she was pronounced dead.
Oh, rest her soul in peace.
Yeah. So some things we take for granted. God is kind.
Sure enough, let's begin the conversation from matters to do with the ruling party, UDA. We've seen them kick out former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. In his place, the replacement is none other than the new Deputy President Kithure Kindiki. And I want to understand this. You had foreseen this coming through in the fullness of time, but it has come quite soon. For Kithure Kindiki, what's your word for him as he ascends to the position that Rigathi held? And also for Rigathi Gachagua, how should this be? What should be his reaction, looking at now even the onslaught going further after he's been axed out of office?
Well, for the incoming Deputy President, I want to wish him well and to advise him that that position, you hold it at the pleasure of the President, especially given the current political dispensation, where the President seems to have emasculated Parliament, judiciary, and is the only person standing in the executive. This therefore means Kithure Kindiki may have the best ideas in the world, but he should keep them to himself. Possibly God may be kind to him that one day he will also be president. Because remember Gerald Ford, there was a scandal where deputy president was removed and was appointed deputy vice president of the American nation. Then the president caught a scandal, Richard Nixon.
Oh, really?
Yes, and Gerald Ford became president without going through the ballot. So you never know. History may be repeating itself far away from America, but here in Kenya, where Kithure Kindiki, who did not appear in the ballot in the last election, is now the deputy president, and anything barring any changes, or the president flying out of the country and deciding to stay there forever, Kithure Kindiki may become our president.
You are a governance expert, and for the longest time, you have always said that a true leader, true measure of a leader lies in a person who is not there to work under the mercy of the boss, not to work under the whims and the graces of his senior. Rather, someone who can take the boss head on and say, you are naked here, let's correct the mess. Why would you then advise Kithure Kindiki to sit back and let the president be, because he is in that position now in UDA because of him?
Well, the issue is that we are dealing with somebody whose character we very well know. Somebody who believes he knows even the things that he has never been taught. He himself believes he learns by intuition. Somebody who strongly believes that he's the only one who has gone to school and managed to complete. Somebody who believes that even what he doesn't know, God gives him divine providence to have some kind of information about what he doesn't know. A micromanager at best. If you are dealing with somebody like that, then you must go to the book written by Mr. Green, 48 Laws of Power, that never outshine your master.
Never outshine your master?
Never outshine your master.
Was that Rigathi's biggest fault?
That is biggest fault. He thought it was now a team that they had won together. He didn't realize that there was the boss, and he was the principal assistant. And if you are principal assistant to an individual, never outshine him. Those are the laws of power, what they call 48 rules of power, where it defies issues of governance. Yeah.
Welcome to Herencia, the heartland of good living, where you belong. A community with endless possibilities. Your path to discovering a master-planned gated community that matches your ambitions. Get yourself this must-have piece of paradise with state-of-the-art amenities, constant water supply, good security, tarmac roads, and much more. The best part, availability of buy and build financing services. Don't wait. Contact us today or visit our offices for more info. Buy and build your way at Herencia, the heartland of good living.
Over the weekend, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua revealed that President William Ruto is a man who cannot be trusted. That is the epitome of betrayal and sort of a traitor in the temple. Why is this clarity coming post-office for Rigathi Gachagua? Why now?
Well, perhaps he has come to the realization that many of us knew. Remember, I worked with the current president when he was deputy president in the run-up to 2022 election. And for the period I was with him, like 2 years, I thought he has changed. We used to brief him almost every Tuesday after lunch, a team of individuals, about 10 of them, under what we were calling the political bureau. At the beginning, he was listening. We were together. We moved. But towards the tail end of it, I realized he had lost capacity to listen, and now he was doing things according to the whims of the day.
Not because of maybe your perceived ill advice?
No, because our advice was open and it was informed by research. And it was not informed by any narrow interest.
Zero sycophancy in your advice and all that?
None at all, none at all. And to be very specific, the issue of the deputy president, there were a number of people, including the current deputy and the former deputy. And our advice was the immediate former deputy president was somebody with similar character to him, and it will be ill-advised. And my advice at that particular time, that this relationship will not last 5 years. It came to pass.
You had seen that coming?
It came to pass. Ask them. If they are honest, that's at least something they should accept that I said and they didn't see. Yeah.
But we've seen the revelations from Rigathi Gachagua regarding the betrayal that is embedded in the character of President Ruto, being echoed by one-time insiders of Kenya Kwanza like Cleophas Malala. And I want to understand, who do you think is right on this? Are they saying this because they're in the political cold, in political mourning, and it's the usual stages of grief? They will come out of it in the fullness of time and reconsider their statement?
Even those who are with the current president today, they believe in the same story. That is not somebody you can advise. It's somebody who can betray you at the slightest moment when you realizes that you don't agree with him.
Even when you offer blood and sweat for him?
He's never loyal to the past. He's loyal to the future, and is comfortable with the present. As long as you are giving value today, he'll be with you. You will laugh all the way. But the moment he realizes that you are no longer fitting the bill that he has already created, you will be removed.
Now, the president is looking at a position whereby he's going to have an alliance with the Nyanza and the Western Bloc, that combined with Rift Valley, where he enjoys support in 2027. So he believes that that team will be able to flatten the wave of Kalonzo Musyoka, even should he pair with Rigathi Gachagua or whatever party that would be there then. Do you think that this Nyanza, Western, Rift Valley union is something that will propel William Ruto to another bid in office in 2027?
Well, it may give him some semblance of security, but remember, Western province is never homogeneous. They are too democratic for anybody to rely on. Because even in the last election, Raila commanded a number of counties, starting with Busia, Kakamega, Vihiga, and Trans Nzoia. But Bungoma went yellow. So you never know. With that pattern still obtaining in Western Kenya, it is not likely, unless Raila is also one of the candidates running. But if it is going to be William Ruto and some other people, it's not likely to keep the same pattern. Nyanza province, as you know, 600,000 people, voters, did not turn up to vote. What guarantee that it is going to vote for somebody else if they were not able to vote for Raila? So it is an alliance that will give him some false sense of security, but the bloc away from that alliance is likely to carry the day because we are likely also to make inroads in Western Kenya. For example, Bungoma, Trans Nzoia, and a bit of Kakamega may come our way, or may come the way of Kalonzo Musyoka. I may not be in that team, but may come the way of Kalonzo Musyoka.
So when Saboti Member of Parliament Caleb Amisi says that the president is living in illusion by thinking that he has Western power by his side because he has Wetangula and Mudavadi, and that Vitu, Vichenjanga, things are going to change in 2027.
Yeah.
Do you think Caleb Amisi has sort of seen the light and probably it's the situation that will prevail?
Well, I don't know. Caleb Amisi is so erratic. The other day he was saying Kalonzo Atoshi, Atoshi Kilo.
Yeah.
Now, if he tells the other team, who else? Does he think he fits the bill himself? Even his constituency has been very fragile. It's only that he had the good base of the Luo nation within Saboti constituency, close to about 15,000 voters. Otherwise, even in the first election, it's just squeaked it through. So Caleb Amisi is somebody who plays very erratic politics. He does not take time to think through. And he seems to be so dismissive about individuals, including Waititu. Waititu got over almost 1 million votes in Kiambu. Well, whether he lost the opportunity or not, from 1 million votes, Waititu can still get 500,000 votes.
Still a matchmaker.
Those 500,000 if he gives to Kalonzo, he's been struggling to get 20,000 votes in Saboti. That is the reality, and that's the truth.
He's biting more than he can chew.
Yeah, than he can chew. He actually thinks that he's so popular in Trans Nzoia, but no.
He isn't?
He is not as popular in Trans Nzoia. Even in Saboti constituency, it's only that he's been able to squeak through because of the presence of the Luo nation.
And within ODM party, do you think he's overrating his sense of self-importance? Because this far, even when it comes to succession under the ODM, he believes he's worth the salt to take over from Raila Odinga, or at least shape ODM to be the party of the future.
Let's wait and see. I think the time is the best healer. It might heal some of his wounds, and it might remove some of his frustrations, and also might also show him that at times things are not what you see. Yeah, vile alisema, vindu vichenjanga. They can change until he realizes he's out of parliament in Saboti constituency. If we get the right candidate there, I don't see Caleb Amisi coming to parliament again, unless he will be coming to pick his pension.
Let's stick to matters to do with ODM party for a moment before we go back to central Kenya and national politics. The other day, we saw Junet Mohammed come forward and say that anyone who is thinking about dethroning Raila Odinga, whether he'll take the AUC seat or not, is someone who is akin to that one who is committing an act of treason. Just the thought of dethroning Raila Odinga is an act of treason. Well, he was using that metaphorically, but it was interpreted as a direct jab on Embakasi East Member of Parliament, Babu Owino, who many believe is a threat to oligarchs within ODM. What do you make of the warning shots from Junet Mohammed? And isn't that an escalation of democracy more so within our political parties?
Well, it worries me. Possibly Junet Mohammed might have read the old Weekly Review of 1978
Why say
or
so?
Where the late Hilary Ngweno reported the first Attorney General of Kenya, the Honorable Charles Njonjo, saying that anybody who thinks or imagines or encompasses the death of the president is doing so at his own peril.
Just the thought of it?
The thought of it, thinking, imagining, just even imagining the death of the president. So he's not being original. Possibly he got a copy of the Weekly Review and he found that expression very rich, which I also agree. Otherwise, you cannot equate Raila in a political party with the level of the president, who is constitutionally elected by the people of this country, protected by the same constitution, and also protected by the wish of Kenyans. Because that's why I've always said, I do not wish to see any changes that take a shape other than the shape of democracy.
A section would say that probably Junet Mohammed is bidding for the CS Interior position, perhaps, or is beating sort of drums of war and warning fire shots, warning fire firing warning shots within ODM party and also when it comes to the dynamics of today in Kenyan politics. Is it so?
I think for those of us who know this country, we are advising President William Ruto to give that seat to Musalia Mudavadi. You can give the foreign affairs to somebody else. But giving that seat to Junaid Mohammed is almost exposing the core of the security of this nation to the wrong person. We advise him, and advise him honestly. Musalia Mudavadi can do that job, unless he has somebody better than Musalia. Because Musalia Mudavadi has the mien, has the character, and has the patience of running the Ministry of Internal Security. But Junaid Mohammed is too light to carry the mantle of internal security.
I see. Waziri, you've served this country in the capacity of a diplomat at some point. And when it comes to the candidature of Raila Odinga for the AUC bid, members of parliament allied to the administration of the day and also a section of politicians from Azimio who are loaned to the government or who subscribe now to the government of the day feel that the bid is coming home, and they believe that this would be all thanks to the heavy and robust campaign machinery the president has set for Raila Odinga. Look, I want to understand, does this hype that we are seeing on interwebs at the end of the day normally translate to the actual votes on the ground? Is this bid normally influenced by such dynamics as the talk in town?
You know, if it were Kenyans voting for the chairman of AU Commission, Raila would win. Because personally, I have nothing against Raila. But there are certain factors that go beyond the boundary of Kenya. One is the behavior of the regime of the day since it took over. They appointed High Commissioner in Hargeisa against the protocol between us and the country of Somalia, because Hargeisa is part of Somalia. They rubbished Sahrawi Republic because they had been given fertilizer by Morocco. That is against the wish of the UN and also the AU. They pronounced themselves on Israel-Hamas war, something that should not have been done. Many Muslim countries are feeling they were affected by that. They frustrated Djibouti in running for an office of within the UN system. Djibouti has never forgiven us. So those four factors and the behavior of Kenya, behaving like a bully in town, does not assist the situation for Raila. Raila is a good person. Raila is capable of running that particular show, but I'm yet to believe that he's going to win. Because in AU opposition, you must win 2/3 of the votes. Even if somebody is not running against you, you must get 2/3 of the countries who qualify to present a candidate. And out of 54 countries, I think 5 or 6 of them are not running. They don't qualify to vote. Countries like Burkina Faso, countries like Benin, countries like, I don't know which other one, they're about 4 to 5. So for Raila to get a win, he must get 32 countries voting for him.
So too much hype on social media
It
by
may
itself
be too much hype. And
doesn't really count.
The strategy that I've been advising them, and I will not tire advising them even now, is that talk to Ali Yusuf of Djibouti to drop the running and give him a position perhaps of Commissioner Peace and Security, or make him the deputy chair, because this position is meant for the Eastern Africa. And when people hear Eastern Africa, it is the eastern part of Africa. It's not East Africa. It's not about the 3 countries or the 6 countries forming the East Africa. It's the eastern part of Africa. Yeah, which goes all the way to DRC, Sudan, even Ethiopia, Djibouti, Somalia, and even Eritrea. So the other issue is that we have a problem as English speaking. The young man from Djibouti can speak English, can speak French, can also speak Arabic.
And so can Raila. You've seen him on presses address, even talking in German language.
Well, I don't know how much does he remember of the German language. I did French 40 years ago. And the other day when I was doing my master's at the University of Nairobi, I struggled to pass because French was one of the one of the languages. So him saying he can still speak German,
Haven't
he left almost 40 years, 50 years ago.
Haven't you watched his presses, greeting people in French, talking a bit of
No,
French,
no.
Germany and all that?
Those are make-believes. It's like now me greeting people in Luya, Kikuyu, Kikamba.
Cheap populism? That strategy won't work?
It won't work. But it is good for Raila. I see he's so rejuvenated. By February, we'll know the truth.
But don't you think now that he has credited himself with second liberation in Kenya, that could be a factor and maybe other countries will look at and say, maybe this man is going to champion for democracy in Africa. Maybe let's give him the seat.
Well, that will be good for us. But some of those things don't translate into anything serious. And even talking about second liberation, we all played a part. I was in Kano, but I played a part.
That we owe it to him as a nation.
We owe to many people. You know, at times when people elevate themselves to a position that they do not really occupy singly, you also question their credentials. Who did not play a role in second liberation? I was in Kano, but I used to oppose Kano from within. But I don't credit myself with second liberation. It was the people of Kenya.
It wasn't Raila, a one-man show.
It was not one-man show. People like Matiba, they sacrificed their lives until they came out when they were already mentally destroyed. People like Charles Rubia, people like Martin Shikuku, people like the late Jean Maria Serone, people like the Koiki Wamwere, people like Wangare Maathai. All those people played a role.
So if he was not the chief liberator, when it comes to second liberation, who is it then? An opportunist by excellence?
Well, he's somebody who positions himself at the crossroads when the wedding is crossing. Wedding procession.
Really? Can't you be polite?
No, because
you've supported this gentleman for the longest time.
I support him. I voted for him once in the last election. I've supported some of the aspirations that he associates with. But he should not say he singly did that. Even the father did more in terms of liberation. The father did more. The late Masinde Muliro did more. The late George Captain did more. So at times to ascribe yourself to a position that you make yourself look like you are a demigod, for me, that is pretense.
Speculation in town, and I've got this feedback from a few of our audience, is that Kipruto Arap Kiro is a bit combative to Raila Odinga. Reason as to why he wasn't part of the team nominated to take up slots in Ruto's cabinet. The slots that were granted to people like John Bandi, Hassan Joho. Is that the case? Are you bitter?
No. I think, why do people associate me with bitterness? If I wanted to go back to Ruto, I have his number, I would call him and he would pick it. I don't need to. I'm not nostalgic and I'm not willing. You know, you are taking me to where I was the other day. I'm not going there. I didn't need Raila to nominate me. But at times, you should not pretend that he has done more than the rest of us.
So you're not living in denial? You are a happy man
in denial.
Outside state
offices.
Yeah,
people like Paul Ngei, they played a role in the first liberation. Ochieng Oneko, Kungu Karumba, Fred Kubai, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta.
Those are the real heroes?
Yeah, those are the heroes of ours. Otherwise, Raila cannot be a hero for me. He can acquire another position. Let him go to AU, he might make himself attractive to my thinking that he's a hero.
And maybe now he'll end up in your book that is coming up. He'll get a chapter or two.
Well, even now, he'll get a chapter on how he has mastered democracy. He has 2 chapters already.
Days of Patrice Lumumba, to Steve Biko from South Africa, to Thomas Sankara, to Muammar Gaddafi. People who think about their people, who worry about their people, who get concerned about their people, who go to bed thinking, what will tomorrow be for the people of my country? The moment you are in that category, you are at risk. But there must be men and women willing to take that risk to save their countries.
Is our president on that path?
You might have to ask him.